Well, happy Saturday, everyone. We had a couple of showers and thunderstorms primarily across areas south along the Highway 34 corridor, but those have made their way out of the region now. We're starting the morning off with plenty of cloud cover, and I think that will be a trend that we'll deal with throughout most of the day. Temperatures 64 degrees, but look at the dew point down into the low to mid 50s. So that's actually some fairly comfortable air making its way in. So it doesn't feel too bad if you're out and about early this morning. So if you have maybe some yard work you need to get done, now would be a great time to do that through the early morning hours. Check out our friends up along the Highway 20 corridor. Temperatures are down into the mid to upper 50s. Very pleasant there. We've got near 60 temperatures here in the metro. And then as you head farther south, notice temperatures climb into the mid to upper 60s. That's where we have a little bit more humidity. And that's why we had more rain chances down that way during the overnight hours. Now, as you take a look at the radar now, again, all the rain moving out of the TV6 viewing area. So we're dry now. And I think primarily through most of the day. Minus an isolated shower or storm that pops up, we're going to be primarily dry. But again, areas along the Highway 34 corridor could see an isolated shower or two. Let's take a look at the radar picture because this really tells us what's really going on across the region. A typical summertime pattern. We have a big heat ridge that's beginning to build up to our south. That's where the hazy, hot, and humid weather is now. And right on the northern fringe of that, that's where we're getting these storm complexes that develop over near Kansas. And then they make their way across northern Missouri. And then they kind of turn and take their way down this warm front right across Illinois and into Kentucky. Well, as we go throughout the next 24 hours, this warm front and this boundary is going to begin to shift to the north. So that's why I think our chances of getting in on a couple of these storm complexes will begin to increase over the next 24 to 36 hours. Here's how it plays out on exact track. Again, we had that little area of rain that moved through overnight. That's pushing off out of the area now. I think through most of our Saturday, we're primarily dry with mostly cloudy skies out there across the area. But then as we get into this evening, we're going to watch to the north and west. That's when I think that next complex of storms will begin to make their way and dive across the QCA. So areas especially along and south of the I-80 corridor, have a pretty decent chance of seeing the potential of a couple of strong to severe thunderstorms with primary threats being some damaging winds and large hail. That'll kind of fade out during the overnight hours. So I think we start off Sunday morning mainly dry, but then Sunday afternoon we'll see our next complex of storms rotating on through. So you'll see the pattern becomes a little more active over the next 24 to 36 hours. As far as severe weather goes, yeah, I think there is going to be a level 2 out of 5 risk. That means we could see some scattered severe thunderstorms with this activity, with, again, the primary threats being damaging winds up to 60 miles per hour and that potential of large hail. We're talking quarter size or higher. The main time frame will be between about 8 p.m. and midnight tonight. So just be aware of that. As you get into the evening hours, make sure you have a way to check back in to get an update on what the weather is doing, because I do expect some storms to be moving in from the west and northwest. Also, the potential with these storms, some heavy rainfall. We could see 1 to 2 inches of rainfall across the area with those storms as they make their way through this weekend. Now, after that, we go into next week, the pattern is really going to flip. Look at this. We're talking the return of the 3 H's. Hazy, hot, and humid weather across the area. It's going to feel and look much more like summertime. So if you've been waiting for that summer-like weather, the heat, the humidity, folks, I've got this special for you coming up as we go into next week. In fact, take a look at the Muggy Meter forecast. We're talking going from humid weather out there this weekend to the humidity getting up into that oppressive range by the middle of next week. So you got that for you. You combine that with the very warm temperatures, and oh my, summer will officially arrive in terms of the actual weather conditions heading into next week. So scattered showers and storms arriving late this evening. We'll see a couple of rounds on your Sunday, a couple of rounds on your Monday, and then we get into a more typical summertime pattern with hazy, hot, and humid weather, a slight chance of an isolated storm each afternoon. But look at those temperatures getting close to 90 by the end of the week. The humidity making it feel closer to the triple digits by Friday.